So we're going to talk about what not to do when you're getting ready to sell your house and what type of investments I would not recommend. I have other videos on what you should do and I'll link them in the description below, but let's get into it. I was walking around my neighborhood and a neighbor I saw, they just put solar panels on and they said, Allie, we're saving every month on solar. And I said, you're military and you're going to move in 3 years.
Maybe not with that much attitude, although I should have.
It breaks my heart to tell them that that was not a good investment. It rarely ever is. And if it's a solar lease, forget about it. That'll never be a good investment. My answer is always no when it comes to solar. Nothing to do with the environment. I am a real estate agent. Analyzing properties for numbers is what I do. Negotiating is what I do all day, every day. Even before I was a real estate agent, I was a special agent for the Air Force where I negotiated all day, every day for a living. I worked felony level crimes, NCIS, but for the Air Force, OSI, Office of Special Investigations. That's what I do. So when people tell me that they're thinking about getting solar or I see solar on a new house and I'm like, you just shot yourself in the foot when you go to sell later. The only time solar is a good ROI is if you pay for it in full from the start, no loan, no lease. I especially say no lease because you never get to own the solar panels after the 20, 30, 40-year lease is over with. And yes, I have seen 40-year leases. You still don't own the panels. During that time, your roof has likely not had a good roof inspection because no roof inspector can get under the panels. And a lot of times, roof warranties are void when you add the solar panels on them. And even though they get you with the door-to-door salesman, as soon as you buy a house, you're going to have 2 people knocking on your door. And as soon as you open the door, one of them is going to turn around and say, oh, not even looking at you.
Your neighbor Sally over there, do you know them? Because they actually just got solar and I wanted to give you the same program, blah, blah, blah.
Look at me in the face when at least you're trying to sell me something. My goodness, it happens all the time. Let me calm down. The truth of the matter is you will not see a dollar for dollar investment at all with solar panels. Even if you get a loan on them, what are the chances you're able to pay that loan off in full before we even list the property? Think about it. As a buyer to purchase the biggest investment most likely of their lifetime, and now they have to qualify for an additional loan for the solar that you got because you didn't have to pay any interest year one. So F it, we're military. We're moving here in 3 years anyway. I promise you, you're going to pay for it and you're going to pay for it worse than what you would have if you just stuck with paying the electric bill. So you're not going to get a return on your investment when it comes to solar. Pools. Pools are pretty much the same thing despite Tucson being so wicked hot. If you spend $60,000, which is like a mid-size pool, there's no loan attached. If you pay for it in full, you're only really going to be able to get 60%, maybe 65% ROI on that investment. And that's on a good day when there are plenty of buyers, when the interest rates are low and they're competing. Right now, for a $60,000 pool, you're looking at more like a $20,000 increase. Again, as long as it's completely paid off. Because think about it, if it's not paid off, that is another loan. The buyers have to pay extra because of extra loans that you took out at no fault to them. I'll tell you what, when I represent buyers and I see a solar loan, we are negotiating hard. We're either going to negotiate that you pay,
Of course, that the seller pay.
to take off the solar panels prior to us closing, otherwise we will not close, or we're going to negotiate elsewhere in order for the buyers to not have to take on that extra financial burden. Now that I have completely ragged on pools and solar, when you get solar, well, I'm very glad you asked. I think it's a good time for you to get solar if you're going to pay in full from the start. No loan, no lease. I already mentioned that. Number 2 is if you know that if you get a loan, I'll never allow lease, that you are financially able to pay it off should the time come. People sell for all different reasons. You never know when you're going to have to sell. Whether it's the military moving you or another job, a death in the family, a surprise baby that maybe you weren't expecting, so now the house is too small, you gotta move, a divorce, some sort of illness. There are reasons why sellers have to sell. The average American, according to the National Association of Realtors, moves every 7 years. So you may think that you're going into your forever home, but statistics show otherwise. By the way, I realized that I didn't introduce myself. My name is Allie Garced. I'm obviously a real estate agent. I work in Tucson, Arizona, and I'm here to get you the best damn deal that I can, whether you are selling or buying. I work with people like you all day, every day, and I love it. Clearly, I am making videos practically whispering
ASMR version for you
at 11 p.m. at night while my wife is sleeping because I want to get this information out to you as fast as possible. Am I Italian? No, I'm Puerto Rican and Peruvian. Another area that I wouldn't spend tremendous amount of money on if you're planning on selling is the kitchen. I see sellers that completely gut their kitchen and just start over, and where they make a mistake is they choose their own colors, they design it themselves. Unless you are a general contractor that does this all day every day for a living and you see the styles of what is selling, or unless you're best friends with a real estate agent that knows what is in and what is selling, or an appraiser that's able to tell you this will add X amount more to your house before you spend the money on it, don't. By adding islands, moving islands, electrical, GFCI, ovens, that can take cabinets, that can take $150,000. Majority of the time, you're not going to see that full dollar for dollar ROI. You're not. And that's despite buyers looking pretty much first at the outside photo, the kitchen, and the bathroom. So my suggestion is update it a little bit. Paint the cabinets, change the knobs, replace the faucets, make sure the garbage disposal works. Do a slight facelift, but not a full gut job. And I mentioned this right before, but the same goes for bathrooms. Unless you know a guy who is licensed, I'm not going to recommend that you completely gut and do a whole new bathroom. The biggest ROI is actually in another video, and I've made videos on that already, but just give your bathroom also a little facelift. New toilet, maybe. New toilet cover, yes. Maybe redo the floors because it's a small space. Paint, always. Fixtures, faucets, knobs, always. Accent lighting, adding more outlets, glass shower doors, adding a shower door, because in a lot of these new builds, it's like they forgot a whole shower door. There's water splashing out, but do not spend a fortune. Do you promise me? Trying to look out for you. You're just not going to get the dollar for dollar ROI back. You're going to lose money. For bathrooms, you'll likely only get 50% of what you put into it. Clients also ask me about adding an ADU, or additional dwelling unit, otherwise known as a mother-in-law suite, either attached or detached. And even though Tucson is the wild, wild west where people do all these additions, subtractions, demos without permits, without licensed contractors, don't do it. As I learned in kindergarten, what's popular is not always right. What's right is not always popular. And if you do unpermitted work, and for some reason the buyer that you go under contract with realizes that, and there's some sort of negotiation or heavy argument, they could rat you out. Don't do that. I see this happen a lot when it comes to multifamily in Tucson. There will be legitimate registered duplexes. The owners add on an extra unit, call it a studio, and now, whoop, we're going to sell it as a triplex. But legally, it is a duplex. It is taxed as a duplex. The county records show a duplex. You may be paying those triplex numbers, but if you didn't do your due diligence on that and you have an issue with the tenant in that studio later on, or in that mother-in-law suite later on that you plan on renting out on Airbnb or Furnish Finder, and they realize that they are not in a legitimate accounted for unit, they can sue you and get all of the money back that they paid you in rent. Don't try. Again, so many people do it. Just do things by the book because karma exists, and also it's the right thing to do. What's also extremely common right now are roofs. And it's very, very common that we're seeing roofs needing entire replacements. We're talking $30,000, $40,000 for an 1,800 square foot house. And we're seeing a lot of them now because a lot of those were built in the 2005, 2008 build. So it's 20 years with the Arizona sun and those materials. It's about time that their end of service life is coming up. But honestly, I would not replace an entire roof as a seller before you go to sell. The more that you fix before you even list the property or before you even go under contract, the buyers aren't going to appreciate it. They're not going to say, oh, this house that hit the market, they just got a new roof, so let's not ask for anything else. No, they're going to say, great, there's a brand new roof, 6 months old.
What can we ask for now, though? Our BINSR is looking pretty small.
BINSR is the buyer inspection notice and seller response. It's during the inspection period. The buyer and the inspectors find everything that's wrong with the property, and they give a list to the seller saying, hey, these are the big ticket items that we found. that we would like you to fix. Now it's your choice as a seller to say, we're not fixing anything, or we're going to fix some items, or we're going to fix none of the items, or in lieu of us fixing, we'll just credit you some amount. But again, the buyers are not going to say,
oh, they have a brand new roof, then let's not ask for the garbage disposal to be fixed. They've already spent so much on the roof.
they're not going to say, oh, the garage remote doesn't work. That's okay. We can just do that on our own. They're not going to say the washer and dryer is leaking, but they spent money on the roof. You get my point. What is a good idea is to have a roofing specialist come out. They do free inspections in Tucson and just certify that it's in good working condition, that there are no active leaks, because that's a scary part when it comes to roofs. You may have to patch a little bit, do some small repairs on the roof, but you can also ask them, is there a warranty that I can get with you guys? That's going to be cheaper than replacing an entire roof. Another client asked me about windows. Should I replace all the windows, Allie? No. Windows are so expensive. You don't see the ROI for that either, especially if you buy super top of the line windows. You know what I'm talking about. You just need them to be in working condition. Do they open? Do they close? Are they cracked? That's it. Same goes for the AC units. As long as they're operable, great. And if you do need to replace the HVAC, don't go for the top of the line, best quality. The buyers don't care. The buyers just want to make sure that they're not going to be sweating in their house. Does the AC work? Is it in a moderately good condition? Good. Now let's talk about what you should spend money on. Again, I have made other videos on this, especially for you, so the link is going to be in the description and you can find them on my channel. But the number one ROI is paint. Paint does wonders, not just with the aesthetics to get rid of the bright orange walls that you have, but to make it a more neutral place, because the last thing buyers want to notice about a house is the paint. So as long as they don't notice the paint, that's good. So what are colors in which they won't notice it? The off-white, the creamy white, the light gray, or some on the brown scale. Again, I've made entire videos on the specific colors and which brands to choose. I don't care if you don't like the colors. I don't care if you think it looks like a hospital room. That's what sells. No red, no yellow, no blue, no green. I know it's the Southwest, but we cannot. Now let's talk about the ceilings. If you have popcorn ceilings, it is a good idea to get rid of it. As soon as people see, especially in today's market where it's a buyer's market at the second, the end of 2025, if they look up and they see popcorn ceilings, they think, what else is outdated? Let's do full, thorough inspections, because likely we will be asking for stuff for the seller to fix. By getting rid of the popcorn ceilings, it automatically adds a 20-year facelift to your house. If you are selling in Tucson, you know who to contact. The best way to get a hold of me, and actually the only way, is to book a call with the link in the description below. When you book a call, that goes to my calendar. You have access to any open spot there. Please make sure that all selling parties or all potential selling parties are on the call. I want to have the call one time and make sure that husband and wife, husband, whoever, mom, dad, grandma, whoever it is that's selling, they're all on the call. I will answer all of your questions. And no, I don't want you to think that just because you're booking a call doesn't mean that you are on the hook to work with me. It's a conversation. If we like each other, great. If not, trust me, I have a lot of clients. I don't need your business. I just want it.